I just made a 25-minute video and my laptop overheated and didn't save any of it. So I just spent the last 25 minutes talking to myself. But I'm going to make this video because I have something to say. Happy 2020. Oh, that's frustrating. So, last year I made this affirmation at the beginning of the year. I said, this is going to be the best year of my life. And it was totally the worst year of my life. So I'm not making that affirmation this year and just hoping for the best. And this video is basically to say what I learned in the last year. And I learned a lot, and some really deep life lessons that took me a long ass time to learn. And so basically what I learned last year is I'm not a people pleaser anymore, not a doormat. I learned what boundaries are and how to enforce them. I learned how to spot toxic people, manipulators. I learned how to be more assertive. And yeah, so I'm hoping that this video can help or be of use to any of you who are also INFJs or empaths. And even if you're not, I hope it can still help you in some way. I'm hoping you can still get some value out of it. But okay, so my whole life I have been a people pleaser. I have been somebody who just bends over backwards for other people. I was never taught what boundaries are. Like, that was a new word for me within the last couple of years. I had no concept of what boundaries even were. I basically grew up with the mentality that you need to put everyone else before yourself. Other people's needs, wants, emotions are more important than yours. I'm inferior to everyone. I don't matter. Everyone else, I need to be there for everybody else, and I have to put everyone else first. And this is, when you have this mentality, you are going to get so hurt and so messed up in life if you continue down this path. You can't, because there are too many toxic and people who are just waiting to swoop in and take advantage of you. People walking around like you can't. And like the last 3 years have just been like so horrible for me. Some really traumatic things happened to me that I won't even go into detail with, but like I've learned so much in that. I don't ever want to go through any of that stuff again. And so within the last year is really when I finally woke up to these patterns that I have in my life about people pleasing and how that can get you in just I'm not the same person that I used to be. Like, even at work especially, I really notice it, because I used to be the type of person that would bend over backwards for people all the time. Even so many times, situations where people were not following the guidelines, they were not following processes, they were not planning and doing their part, but they would come to me, and now all of a sudden it's an emergency and I need to drop everything I'm doing and help them out. And I just constantly getting like people just taking advantage of me, and they don't care at all. Like, I help them out, I scramble and I bend over backwards to help them, and they don't even care. Like, a lot of times they don't even say thank you. And I'm not like that anymore. Like, at work, I just tell people how it is. When they don't follow the guidelines, I tell them, this is how it is. This can't be done now because you didn't do this. In the future, do this. Like, just being point blank about it, but being professional. And like, I used to all the time, I used to like blame myself all the time. People would blame me for stuff that wasn't even my fault, and like, it saddens me, but I used to go along with it, and I would blame myself for things that not even my fault. I would apologize for things that were not my fault. And working with people, of course, it's not going to be smooth all the time. You're going to run into people who want to take out their anger or their situations on you for no reason at all, especially if you're really nice and seemingly naive. They think they can just say whatever they want to you. I've had phone conversations in the past where I really let it get to me at work, and I would cry over it to myself, or I would tear up, or I would just shame myself for the next few days. Like, I can't believe, like, I just beat myself up about it so much, and like, I let somebody else take their frustration out on me, something that wasn't even my fault. I would let them make me feel bad about myself. And I don't do that anymore, because if people want to do that, they can do that, but I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. And I'm finally learning what self-love and self-worth are. I was doing like affirmations for a while. I would say them to myself, or in front of a mirror, or write them down, and like, it felt good in the moment in certain days, but like, it's you can't like do years worth of negative programming into your mind, making you like feel bad about yourself and hate yourself. You can't undo it with some little fancy affirmations, because like, they just end up feeling like lies. And like, the thing that has worked, like, has finally started working for me, and like, I'm seeing progress, is just by taking care of myself. And like, I've always taken care of myself, but just like really going the extra mile to like just like things like dentist appointments, doctor appointments, eye exams, eating properly, getting enough sleep, getting enough water, exercising, treating myself, doing what I want to do instead of like living for other people. Like all that stuff adds up, and when you like really push it the extra mile, that's like I'm like proving to myself that I'm like proving with actions, like physically proving to myself, like actions to show myself. I think it means more to like show myself physically that I'm worth doing all this stuff, worth taking care of, and worth all of it, because yeah. But actions always mean more to me than words, and that goes with like dealing with people in friendships or romance or any of that too. Actions they mean more than words ever could. And boundaries, I want to talk about boundaries because it actually feels like so freeing when you start exerting boundaries. Before, like when I first started hearing about boundaries, I was like, well, then I'm going to be letting the other person down, and I don't want to make them feel bad, and I don't like conflict. I don't want to create drama. I don't want to, and like now I don't care. I put myself first. I'm all for giving in friendships and people that you love in your life. That's great and wonderful, and even strangers, helping out a stranger or whatever, like being good and having a good heart, that's all great and wonderful. But there is a line, nobody ever taught me this, but there is a line that you have to consider yourself. And this might all sound like very simplistic to some of you, but like I never learned any of this stuff. When you grow up with a particular mindset, this other ways of thinking don't even come into your scope, because it's like, this is part of me. I am somebody who puts other people first. I am somebody who cares about other people and their feelings, and that's part of me. But it's really not in your best interest to make that part of you, because you're just gonna set yourself up for toxic people to hurt you. I've been taken advantage of and hurt and walked all over a lot in my life from all different kinds of people. I used to have a friend, and she would ask me for rides all the time. She would constantly be asking me to do favors for her. Very one-sided. It was always, what can I do for her? And like, that's part of being a friend, like guilt tripping if I ever said no, like, whoa, I thought we were friends, just trying to make me feel like this awful person if I ever said no. And like, that to me, like, I know what real friendship looks and feels like. I have some really close friends, and I'm very grateful for that, but I totally know, like, that was not a legit friendship. And I feel like that happens all the time. People just take advantage of the weaker person. just because you're an empath, apparently that makes you weak. Apparently that makes you an easy target, you know. Because I look a certain way, a lot of people tell me that or think that I am a lot younger than I am. I'm 33, and a lot of people like want to think that I'm some like young, dumb, naive girl, and they talk to me as such. A lot of people are patronizing to me, condescending, talk to me like I'm just the most ignorant. But now I just try to like not worry about that anymore. If they want to have some preconceived notion of my intelligence based on how I look or how I talk or whatever, let them think that way. Who cares? And regarding toxic relationships and toxic people in your life, I see a lot of comments from people on YouTube or just hearing it out in the real world. There's a lot of victim blaming that goes on in this world, where people who are in like abusive relationships or toxic relationships, or the person treats you like shit, or you're in friendships like that, people want to blame the victim and say like, well, she's so stupid. It's so simple. Like, if you're in an abusive relationship, then why don't you just leave? Why would you ever stay in that? It's just plain stupidity, blah blah blah. Like, I cannot stand when people victim blame like that. I can't, because they don't know the whole driving force of those situations. Okay? If you are in an abusive or a toxic relationship and you're choosing to stay in that relationship, you don't have a self-esteem, you don't have self-worth. That's the whole driving force. Because if you did, you could easily leave and be like, I deserve so much better than this. Why am I staying with this person who just treats me so horribly? But the whole point is that's not how your mind works in those situations. Your mind is thinking, well, I care about this person even though they treat me like shit. Like, this is the best. This is what I deserve. I can't get any better than this. Like, look at me. I don't mean anything. I don't matter. Like, that's why I'm gonna stay in this relationship, because, you know, like, there's the absence of self-worth. And I can't stand when people sit there on the sidelines and want to pass judgment on those people. Like it's so easy. So basically, like, I've been working so hard to protect myself and put myself first. And what I've like really realized also is that there's nobody to protect me. When you are single and you're not dependent on anybody, you are your sole protector, and you have to watch out for people. There are so many toxic, scary people walking around just waiting to prey on you, and you have to be like, you have to have your guard up, because you can't just be accepting of people. You have to be, I am like super choosy of who I let in my life in any capacity. What I'm trying to say in this video is that people pleasing and putting others ahead of yourself all the time, it really is not serving you. It's not going to get you anywhere in life. It will eventually get you really effing hurt. It will, you know, like, I had to learn really hard life lessons, and you know, going forward, I just won't just be tolerating the way that I used to. It's kind of sad that when you have a very like innocent, sweet, inherent nature about you, like people will take advantage of that, and people will walk all over you, and you're just easy manipulation material simply because you're genuine and have a good heart. And you know, people, like I was saying before, like you look a certain way, people think they can say whatever they want to you. The most hate comments that I've ever had was on my gabapentin videos when I was taking that anxiety medication. Oh my god, there was some really nasty, mean hate comments on those videos, like, and like so many of them were telling me how stupid I am. Like, just so many comments like, girl, you look so stupid, get off of that drug, you sound so, how dare you even drive when you're taking that, and all this kind of, you are so spaced out, oh my god, all this kind of stuff. Like, that is not helpful. You don't need to leave those comments. You really don't. I was trying to help myself. I have really bad anxiety. I have bad anxiety. I still to this day have it. I don't take that medication anymore, but when I did take it, I was desperate to find something to try to help me. And you know, when you're trying to help yourself, you get all these hate comments. It's like judgmental hate comments. Come on. And that's why I took those videos down. And in those videos I was recommending gabapentin for anxiety because at the time I was very zoned out, and I felt pretty good on it, but it didn't help me. The more that I was on it, it was pretty awful, and the withdrawals that I had were absolute hell, and I plan to make a video on that soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope that this video, like, if there's anybody out there like me who relates with this about being a people pleaser for so long. I just feel like that naturally goes with being an empath, I think. And you know, I finally woke up like, this doesn't serve me. And it just hurts me. Because you will get taken advantage of, and you will get used, you will get manipulated and hurt at some point, and more than likely many times. It's important to stand up for yourself, which I do today. It's important to take care of yourself, which I do today. It's important to put yourself first because you matter and you're the only one looking out for yourself. So you have to be there for yourself. You have to prove to yourself that you can be there for yourself. It sounds weird and crazy, but like, it's true. And I hope that all of you are loving toward yourselves this year, and if you don't love yourself, I hope that you can find that, because it's so important. You can't live a fulfilling life if you don't love yourself. You just can't. And I know from experience. Believe me. So please comment below your thoughts on this topic. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I'll see you next time.